Who's ready for some spooks? Hey guys, Melinda here. I decided to go to my original roots and go towards what I love to watch and analyze, and that's horror. And what just came out? The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. So that is what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm excited. I was very nervous and anxious to watch this film because I think it is a great example of what horror should be and where the horror genre needs to go. And that's why I think I was very nervous, because the first and the second Conjuring films to this day are the only films that actually scare my socks off. Normally horror films are very over-dramatized and cliched and very predictable to the point that it isn't even scary. It's kind of more laughable to me. But the first and the second Conjuring movies are the very first horror movies that have not done that to me in a very long time. So that's why I was nervous to watch this film, because I thought that I was gonna be terrified, I was gonna have nightmares. I didn't, and we are about to get into that right now. For those of you who have never seen any of my other movie or TV reviews, I like to review it in a way that gives no spoilers, so that way anybody can click onto this video, get an idea if they want to go watch it, hear my thoughts, my comments, and if you guys want to have a discussion, leave it down in the comments. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this movie review. So, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It is the third Conjuring film, but it's the 8th film of the Conjuring franchise. When I was doing a little bit of research into this, I was even wrong. I thought this was the 7th film because I didn't realize that they had another spin-off, or I didn't realize that film was part of the Conjuring franchise. So we have the 3 Conjuring movies. We have Annabelle, Annabelle Comes Home, Annabelle Creation. So Annabelle has 3 films. We have The Nun, and I'm so sorry if I say this wrong, The Curse of La Llorona. I'm phonetically saying that because I cannot pronounce that correctly. But either way, those are the 5 spin-off movies of the Conjuring franchise. Added with the 3 actual Conjuring movies, we have 8 films. I have seen, obviously, the first and the second Conjuring films, and I believe I have seen the first and the second Annabelle movies. I for sure know I saw the first one. I do not recall if I saw the second one or not. Watching the 2 Annabelle movies did not live up to the Conjuring movies themselves, so I was very disappointed in those. And the Annabelle movies are generally what happens when I watch horror movies. I thought it was very cliched and they were very trying to make it boo in your face scary, which ended up causing me to laugh at it. So I was very turned off by the spin-off movies of the Conjuring franchise. So I have never seen The Nun, I have never seen The Curse of La Llorona. I think I would be interested for YouTube purposes, just so I could say that I've seen all the movies within the Conjuring franchise and I could give it a fair shake. But going into this movie review, I have not seen those. So, first of all, if you guys are unfamiliar of the Conjuring universe, it follows 2 paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are actual real life investigators, paranormal investigators. And these movies are based on their case files over the past 30, 40, 50 years or something, however long they've been doing this. And so each movie has been a different case that they have worked. This movie is about a family being cursed. I really cannot go too much into detail about it because it will completely ruin the whole premise of the story. But basically what this 3rd film is about is following the actual trial and court case of Arnie Johnson, who pled not guilty to first-degree murder due to demonic possession. This is a real court case. This is a real trial that you can Google and research and you will get all of the details about it. So this film is just based on true and real events that happened with the Arnie Johnson case. So it was a very, very neat idea and it was a different take and angle on it. I was very fascinated by it. I was kind of disappointed in it though. Although I thought that this movie was good, it had really good story, really good plot points, plot twists. It didn't feel like a Conjuring movie to me. I think one of of the reasons why I was so terrified about the first and the second movies is because I am a firm believer in the supernatural and the paranormal. And so I am terrified of the idea of demons and ghosts and whatever else could be roaming out in the universe. I don't think this movie was as terrifying and didn't quite live up to the first two films because it wasn't very focused on a paranormal aspect versus a human aspect. I think that's where my biggest critique would come into play. It didn't feel like a Conjuring film. It felt like any other normal drama mystery thriller kind of film, which I think is a bad thing because The Conjuring has this huge name. It's a big franchise. There's so many movies. There's so many plans for more movies. And, you know, if you have one that doesn't feel like a Conjuring film, it's gonna hurt it. I think I've kind of rambled on enough and need to resort to my notes, or else I'm gonna keep just going off on random thoughts and tangents, and we don't want that. So I forgot to mention at the very beginning, this movie is streaming on HBO Max and in select theaters. I very much love this partnership that HBO Max has right now with Warner Brothers. We're still in weird COVID times. In my town, at least, I only have one movie theater that's open. It's kind of small, so they don't play a whole lot of movies, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to get to. All of my other movie theaters shut down, and I don't know that they're gonna reopen. So I like that HBO Max and Warner Brothers has a limited window opportunity on their streaming platform that movies that get released into the theaters are on HBO Max for about a month. That is absolutely amazing because it gives me an opportunity to watch new movies being released, but I don't have to go to the theater for it, which I do miss, by the way. I do miss actually going to the theater and doing that experience, but it's difficult to do that. So thank you, HBO Max. So this is gonna kind of tie into what I was kind of saying a little bit before I think I went off on a tangent. I thought that this film, it was good. It's kind of more of a thriller mystery rather than like a Conjuring film. And I think it's mostly because there is more of a human aspect to this story than a paranormal one. I thought that this was a very interesting story, and it's a very unique case pulled from the Warren case files. It again just does not feel like a Conjuring film, which I think hurt it. The actors do a phenomenal job. The casting director, whoever makes the choices for all of these actors, did such an incredible job. Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, who play Ed and Lorraine Warren, they are just phenomenal. They really inhabit Ed and Lorraine Warren, and I think they just do an amazing job at portraying them, and whoever does the casting choices just does a fantastic job every movie. Oh goodness, I'm sorry if I say his name wrong. Ruairi O'Connor, who plays Arnie Johnson in this film, I thought he did an amazing job. His girlfriend in the movie, we have Sarah Catherine Hook, plays Debbie Glatzel. She does an amazing job. So just all around, the acting in this movie is very good casting choices. The sound choices were also amazing and wonderful. When you have a horror movie, it's very key of what kind of music you play, what kind of ambient sounds you play. The Conjuring all around does an amazing job at sound choices that make the audience uncomfortable, which is very key in a horror movie because that's what rises the tension and the suspense and can make a scene so much more scary. Think about it. If you take out the sound in a horror film, it really is not that scary. It's really the music and the sound choices that can make the audience physically uncomfortable while watching it, and they're tense and they're on the edge of their seats. They're waiting for something to happen. Yeah, there you go. They just did an amazing job with the music and the sound choices. The trailer of this film makes it look a lot scarier than it actually was, and I think it's because they took pretty much the only scary parts and put it into the trailer. Obviously, that's the whole point of a horror, is that you want to scare an audience and you want to grab their attention to come watch the film, but I would say that this trailer is deceiving in what to expect. This film did a great job with the jump scares. They always redirect it to get you to, and I jumped every time that they were setting up for a jump scare because they have you so intently focused on one scene. You think something's gonna happen, something's gonna jump out, I'm gonna get scared, and then it doesn't happen because they redirect your attention and then they get you somewhere else. So they did a very good job at creating those jump scares and those moments for the audience to react to what is going on within the movie. That also reminded me of another point that I wanted to say, and that's the reasons why I think the Conjuring films are so good is because it's not purely jump scares. Most horror movies these days think that you need gore and jump scares and it makes it a terrifying horror film, which is not the case. This actually focuses on everything. So music choices, the jump scares, it has really good storylines and plot points and plot twists. Everything that I want to create in a horror movie, the Conjuring series are exactly what I want to do. They are a great example of the horror that I dream to write about one day. I like for this movie that I like that they did the Arnie Johnson case. This was a public court trial. That's why you can search it and you can get the details and find out where Arnie Johnson is today. And I think it was a smart point to do it based on a real life court case. But then again, that ties into why I think it also didn't do a very good job. I think the case itself is probably what took down that fine line between a Conjuring film and just a really good thriller film. I was reading a couple reviews because I was curious what critiques thought about it, and they did not rate this film that good on Rotten Tomatoes. But one review that I completely agree with is that this felt more of like a Warren backstory rather than a ghost story. So we do get a lot of connection and backstory between Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they kind of have like a subplot that's going on during the main plot. Don't get me wrong, I thought it was very sweet, it was very nice, but honestly the two of them kind of just had nothing to do with each other. They focused too much on creating sympathy between Ed and Lorraine Warren versus focusing on the scary aspect of the supernatural entity. You know, I could have sworn I had more thoughts, but I kind of didn't write anything else down. So I guess we're gonna wrap this up. I did write that I do recommend everyone to go watch this film. It was a good story. One of the other reviews that I read is that it feels like the Conjuring franchise is running its course because this is the 8th film of the franchise. It doesn't feel like original content anymore. We're kind of all used to it. I had higher expectations going into it because it has the Conjuring name on it, and because it didn't live up to the first 2 of the series, it kind of disappointed me and didn't feel like a Conjuring film. Again, I do recommend because it really was a good story, but just know that if you're watching it because you want to be scared, this film probably is not the one. It was a very entertaining film, but I would rank it last in the 3 movies. Really good story. I think it definitely could have been better. The fact that they focus on a real life court trial, I think they focused way too much on the details of the case. I love the backstory that we get of Ed and Lorraine Warren, but I think they just chose the wrong film to do it in. And honestly, I wonder if it's because the writers knew that they could not get a full story from just the Arnie Johnson case. So they needed to include something else for the audience to root for. There we go. I think I have rambled on enough and have been on an endless repeating loop, and it's just time to wrap this guy up. Do recommend, was disappointed in it. I think everybody should give it a fair shake. If you guys have seen the movie, you want to go into details, you want to talk about it, please leave it down in the comments down below. I'd love to have a discussion. I guess that is everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all for the support. If you like this video, go ahead, give it a big thumbs up. It would absolutely mean the world to me. And make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already and you want to see more content. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Live life, always laugh, and enjoy the journey. Bye.